Hey, hi everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Enakshi Pal, product manager at Amivoids. I work closely with the HR, IT, and admin teams who face day-to-day challenges in managing the offboarding, onboarding, and various other HR workflows. So today I'll show you how we can automate these workflows, essentially the employee lifecycle, onboarding and offboarding workflows right within Jira using UpRaise People Automation. So in this session today, we will be covering three simple things. Basically, the common challenges that all the HR, IT, and admins face surrounding these workflows. Next up, we will introduce user profile attribute driven automation, right, using Appraise automation. And thirdly, we will have a quick walkthrough showing how onboarding and offboarding workflows can be automated through user profile based triggers and actions within Appraise. So next up, we will be moving to the common challenges in onboarding and offboarding that the teams face. So let us think of an instance when a new employee joins, most of the work happens manually, right? We create the Jira tasks one by one, then we create the forms and then assign them to the employee, and we keep sending the email separately, right? All of this happens step by step and it takes a lot of time. So once the form is sent, the employee might respond after a day or two, or maybe 3 days, or maybe when we don't even know. So here is when the teams encounter their first challenge. So since there is no automatic reminder set up within the system, admins will have to remember and follow up manually, right? Now, this doesn't just only affect the onboarding, this will eventually affect the offboarding as well. How? During the offboarding, the same issues appear. Forms don't get filled on time, task gets delayed and missed, and this is when the teams encounter another issue. Since there is no automatic reminders or automation setup, delays keep adding up, right? So, which again leads to another major issue, which is like of access not being provisioned or revoked on time. So let's think of it like that. If a form is not filled on time or the task is getting delayed, IT actions will also get delayed, right? And that can cause security or compliance risks. And finally, the last challenge that most of the teams face is the low visibility. Managers and other teams don't always have the visibility, right? They don't always know what task is pending, what is complete, and even if they know, they will have to get onto a lot of GI issues and all of that tracking process, right? Wherein the process is still stuck, right? So to address these things, we have come up with some user profile based attribute driven automation right within Jira with UpRaise People Automation. How? Let's have a short look. So before we talk about the profile driven automation, here's a quick note on what exactly Appraise People Automation is about. So Appraise People Automation essentially brings all people workflows right into Jira, automating everything from onboarding and offboarding to OKRs, continuous feedback, performance reviews, leaves, and calendars, so that teams can manage everything, every operations right where they already have their work without having to switch between different tools, right? So how does this profile attribute driven automation work? So first, we need to define user segments. So what do we mean by the user segments? For example, you want to configure the automation for employees from a specific department or a specific location. We configure these settings using the user segments based on those parameters. So once the user segment is defined, we set up a automation rule with triggers and actions. Now, whenever a profile attribute is updated, like in this case, for our onboarding, we'll be choosing the joining date, or for the offboarding, we'll be choosing the last working day. So the automation trigger fires only when the selected segment uh, will return a set of users, right? And once the trigger is fired, Jira tasks will automatically get created. Forms will automatically get distributed, and reminders and notifications will automatically be handled by UpRaise. So no more manual task creation, no more manual form assignments, and no more manual follow-ups. UpRaise automation takes care of everything. So now that we have understood how we can automate these, let's have a quick look at the demo. So I'll be showing you how the profile attribute change works as a trigger, how user segments are applied, and how an onboarding workflow is automated as a reference. So we'll move on to the demo. So for this, we will be needing two things upfront. So firstly, we will have a form ready, right? So we need to configure a form. So in order to have an employee on board, we will have to ask a few details from them. In order to grab those details, we will have to have a form configured. So in this case, I have already created a form. So you can just simply go to create new template and you can create a new form. I have already created a form for the reference. So we will just move on to the form. Here you can select any template type. These are in disabled mode right now, since this is already created, hence it is disabled. So we have chosen the survey mode of template. We have chosen a desired workflow. You can choose it according to your use case. And we have given the template, we filled the template details where we have filled in the names. And look, we can see the distribution mode. The distribution mode is one of the most important things while you are configuring the form. So we need to make sure that the distribution is always made through automation, right? So the particular template that you have configured can only be used within the automation rules once you have set this to automation, right? So clicking on next, we will be redirected to the set of questions. Here we have the sections for every questions. Like for personal details, we have some set of questions. For identity and compliance, we have certain set of questions. These are only for reference purposes. You can create your own according to your use case. So yeah, this is the first thing that you need to keep handy. Secondly, what we have to do, we will have to go to the company directory and we will have to create a user segment. So this is another critical thing that we need to set up in order to set up our automation. So for the user segment, you can just simply click on create segment and you can select the filter conditions according to your use case. In our use case, since we are looking at the engineering team onboarding, so we will simply move on and we will simply move on and we will choose this engineering team onboarding employees. So for your reference purpose, I'll just show you what filters I have applied. So in the filters, you can see there's a joining date. So since we were talking about the user profile attribute driven automation, so this is one of the user profiles. So joining date is a user profile that we are using in this automation rule. Right now, you can select the condition according to your use case. Here I have selected is today, like whosoever joining date is today, the automation, we will be having the set of users for this particular joining date, right? And secondly, we have put the filter as location as India, and department as engineering. Since for our use case, we are configuring the automation rule for only the engineering teams onboarding new employees, and that too for India office, right? So right now, since this is our test instance, so we only have 3 users fetched from this segment currently. So right now we have already configured these 2 things and we have these 2 things handy. We will simply move on to the automation. So here is the landing page of automation, UpRaise automation. You can see here are a few use cases you can see, but today since we are only talking about onboarding and offboarding, we will look into these use case basically. So you can just simply go on and create your automation rule according to the onboarding and offboarding. But here for your reference, I have already created an automation rule. We will have a look into that. So here it is, engineering team onboarding automation. I have given this a name. So this is an enabled toggle. So you can enable and disable the automation right when you need, and if you do not need, you can simply disable it. We have three set of triggers: manual, scheduled at interval, and profile attribute change. Since in this use case we are focusing right into the user profile attribute change, so we will be taking this into consideration. Like I've already mentioned while configuring the user segment, that we will be focusing on the user profile attribute. So since we are focusing on the onboarding automation, so we will be considering the joining dates, right? So this rule will get triggered only when the attribute is updated for the specific set of users, right? Next up, we have notify on success or failure. What does this mean is whenever this automation rule executes, you can just simply select if you want to get notified whenever the rule fails to execute, or whether you want to get notified for every rule execution, or you do not want to get notified at all. You can select that. Here you can, in the select users drop down, you can select the number of users you want this information to pass on. You want you want them to be a part of this automation. You can simply select that from here. So on clicking of save and next, we will directly get redirected to this precondition. Like I've mentioned, precondition is also a very critical part of automation. Here we are selecting the set of user segments, actually the ones which we have configured. System will automatically fetch them, right? So you can see the one which I have already configured back in the company directory user segments part. You can see the system has already fetched that, right? So we will select on that, and this like going forward, whatever actions we configure, right, for this specific rule, the actions will only be executed only for the particular set of segment, like users, which will be fetched through this segment, right? So on selection of this segment, we will click on save, and then next we will have an option to add actions. So right now within UpRaise we have three set of actions, but in automation onboarding automation we will be focusing on two actions. One is distribute form, and another one is create work item, right? So firstly we will look at this distribute form action. So on clicking of this distribute form action, you will be first asked to add a name to it, and then you can simply select the form template, right? I've mentioned before, like we will be needing them handy. So the form which we have already configured for the onboarding, you can just simply select from the list. Okay. So in this case, we will have to remember one thing: the form which you will be configuring, you need to create that or select the distribution mode as automation. So the whichever forms are distributed through automation, only those forms will be fetched in this system, right, in this list. So we have selected new employee onboarding form, which we have configured. And for this identify reviewers, you can see it is automatically pre-selected. It has come from the precondition where we have selected our user segments we want. So this is for the engineering team onboarding, and this form will get distributed to this active users, which our user segment will fetch. Next up is a form ended. So form ended is something that you will be able to configure it in number of days from the start date of the form. So let's say today is 23rd of December. So maybe you will automate the rule today, and we have created the form today. And from the next 5 days, that is maybe on 28th, that will be the last date of the form. That after that, the form will not accept any inputs, right? You can configure that, and you can simply put any numbers you want, right? So yeah, next up we have adding reminders. Like remember in the challenges we have mentioned that there are no automatic reminders set up. We have to like teams have to go and like manually they have to remind the employees to fill up the forms, right? In this case, you don't have to do anything manually. System will automatically add appropriate reminders based on the form duration. So this is the action, form distribution action you have configured. Now we can click on save, and again clicking on add action again, you can simply configure another action if you want. So for our use case, since we are configuring the onboarding, now that we have configured the distribute forms, the form will get automatically assigned to the employees. And next up, we will have something for the IT teams, right? Or the managers. We will have a set of actions that they need to perform based on the onboarding, right? So for that, we will have a automation action run, that is create work item. That is automatically a Jira work item will get created, right? So in this case, you will just have to select, just have to like type on the name of the action you want to have it according to your use case, and maybe you can then select the work template. So here work template is something that you will be able to customize it according to your need. So work template is basically something which you will be having your summary and description based on this. So these are the 6 list of default work templates which is currently available within UpRaise. So right now, since we are working on, we are configuring the onboarding automation. So we will have this selected employee onboarding checklist. Now you can see on clicking on selecting that, we have this summary and the description automatically filled, right? We will come to this definitely. So before that, we will select the project. So this project is basically the Jira projects you have, right? That system UpRaise will fetch those projects right here within the system. So in my system, since this is a test instance, so I have only one project here. So here I have selected the project under which the work item will be created. So you can select the work type, like any type of work, maybe a task, epic, subtask according to your use case. But in our use case, we will be creating a task work type, and then we will have assignees, right? So you can have like 3 different types of assignees. So we can select the assignees based on 3 different types. So here's a straight away very if you want to select a specific user, you can go ahead and select any specific users you want. You can type on the names and you can get this user. Secondly, the triggered user. So in this, whichever like work item will be created to the action, and will be this work item will be assigned to the users that will be fetched through the precondition, right? So if you want that, you can simply click on triggered user, and the last is the related user. So for related user, we will have something called select user attribute. So let's say your employee has a manager, right? So if you want to assign this particular checklist to the manager, so you can simply have this attribute. So in my system right now, I have the manager attribute. You can simply select the manager, and this particular work item will be getting directly assigned to the manager, right? So right now, for our use case, we can go ahead with the employees manager. We want to assign this checklist to, and reporter will be someone who is creating this action, right? So who is creating this automation rule, right? And the next step is the summary and the description, which I've already mentioned that you have selected the work template, and accordingly the summary and the description will be filled, right? So here you can definitely, these are customizable. You can add your own summary according to your use case. You can rename it, and you can do according to your use case, right? And here we have something called choose variable. So you can see here we have trigger.user.name. It's a variable that we have selected. System has given it by default. You can, if you want to add any other variable, you can simply select this from this list of variables which we have. So talking about these variables, these are the default variables which are available as profile attributes. Basically, these are the profile attributes which are automatically available in the company directory module within UpRaise. Next up is the description. Again, this description is also like customizable. You can customize it according to your needs. You may want to add other items as well. other checklist items as well here, and also you can attach links and all of the stuff here. And even here you have the choose variable option, where you can, if you want, you can portray other, maybe you can pick up other profile attributes as well from the list, right? So this is how you will be able to like create the action, and as a result you will be able to like configure the automation rule. And this is how the automation rule has been configured. So right now, to make you understand how it will look like after the automation rule has been executed. So you will receive an email, the assignee of the work item, whoever the work item is assigned to, he or she will receive an email for that. So you can see here we have received an email that onboarding task for new employee has been created. You can see the status as to do, work type is task, assignee, it's Enakshi, priority medium, and you can see the reporter, all of that has been created, and you can see the description also as it is. And even we have the date and time available here. And on clicking of this, you can simply view the work item, right? That will be redirecting you to Jira. So now that we have understood and looked into how we can create this automation rule right within UpRaise. So that's how easy it is to automate the whole onboarding and offboarding as well. So now that we have understood the onboarding process, the offboarding process is similar. We just only have to create the offboarding form and the user segments with the in this onboarding, since we have used joining date, for the offboarding you can use the last working day. So accordingly, and the same process will be repeated for the automation rule setup, right? So this is how easy it is to automate the onboarding and offboarding with UpRaise. So by using this profile based triggers, user segments, and automation teams, you can save times and avoid the missed tasks, delays, and all of that. So by this, we have come to an end of this session. So you can simply scan the QR code and maybe explore the People Automation app today. And with that, we will wrap up today's session. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you again.